Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again. I am here to talk about another Goosebumps book. I wanted to review a movie today, but someone ruined my entire day, and so I didn't have any time to watch a movie today. As usual, it always happens to where, like, I get up and then the entire day I have to do stuff, and so I don't have time to watch any movies, and so it kind of sucks that keeps on happening. So basically, every time you see a Goosebumps video come out, it's literally because I don't have time to watch something, unfortunately. And so I am going to talk about a Goosebumps book, Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. I've read both Mummy books, and they were both extremely different from each other. This first book, Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, is about a guy named Gabe, I think, and he travels to Egypt to visit his cousin and her uncle, and the uncle guy. And the uncle is an archaeologist, and so the parents leave them there and with him, and he's not a very good uncle, by the way. He's a shitty uncle. He's trash. He's a good character, but he's really, really trash. And he basically, it starts off really boring because it's Christmas and they're in a hotel room in Egypt and they're so bored. And it's like, God, this is kind of boring. But then they get into the tomb and they start exploring, and it gets really, really good. And the uncle has this disgruntled worker, and I can't remember his name, but he's the bad guy of the book. And he warns them to stay out of the tomb, stay out of the tomb. And he, at one point, they go to a museum without any adult supervision. And the worker, he actually kidnaps them and they have to escape from his car. So that was pretty interesting. And then when they meet up with the uncle at the tomb to tell him about it, shit happens. They go back to the tomb the next day, and that's where the worker is, and the worker traps them all in there. And it's basically this intense, like, 20 to 30 page showdown between this evil piece of shit worker. And now let's talk about the worker, because he has apparently been killing people for years and mummifying them for real inside the tomb. And so there's all these mummies lying around, and they're all just people who are visiting the tomb. That's really insane. And apparently it's like a family tradition that, like, or I guess a family duty, that they have to protect the tomb and they have to punish people for breaking the rules in the tomb and, like, doing things against the pharaoh's wishes, or whatever the guy was, the mummy, the original mummy. And so I thought that was actually really cool, to have a twist that the villain is not a mummy at all. The villain is this worker guy who basically guards the tomb and kills people who enter the tomb. And so it's a really intense last act of the book. It's the best part of the book. Once again, all the mummies, they actually come to life, and they're going to throw the worker in this hot tar pit, and he magically escapes, unfortunately. And that's the last we ever see of him. And then there's this whole thing of, like, was it real or not? Overall, I love this book. I would give it a B+. It was a very strong book. It started off boring, but the main characters, they have so much chemistry. They're probably the best characters in Goosebumps, the best main kid characters. And it really just makes you want to see a second book. Like, it really just, that's what's funny, is that the second book, that's the one I was looking forward to after this. Uh, but yeah, it's really good. There might be a story issue here and there, but it's so entertaining. It's like an adventure horror. It's really good. And the villain, he is such an evil villain. He wants to kill the children. He wants to throw them in the tar pit, or mummify them. Like, he is really evil. And so I actually like that too, that this villain, he was very real and he was very evil. And the uncle was trash. I mean, the uncle did not protect them. He hardly did jack shit for them the whole book. I mean, it was really, I don't know why anyone would ever want to visit him again. Because he really dropped the ball on protecting these kids. So yeah, this was a surprise. I thought that this book would just be a boring mummy book. It would just be the same old thing. They go into a tomb, they resurrect a mummy, and then the mummy's bad, and then they destroy the mummy. It's always like that in these mummy movies, these mummy stories. Trash. But it was actually very unique and very different, so that's what I loved about it. And I think it's a really underrated Goosebumps book. The only thing I ever see people talking about is the cover. Other than that, people don't even like. This is a really good book. This is actually better than Piano Lessons Can Be Murder, because it's so different, and they're both different actually, but better characters in this than Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. And in terms of the episode, the episode chose to not adapt this book, which I think is a huge travesty. I mean, this would have been one of the books that I would be like, you're not going to adapt this? This is the one you should adapt, not the second one. So, that was funny, seeing that. And the episode is a huge piece of shit. And it really does a disservice to the two main characters. It makes them both trash. It makes the uncle even more trash. And, oh, God, that episode. Oh. But the episode is adapted from the second book. And I'll be talking about the second book in the next episode, Return of the Mummy. And Return of the Mummy is nowhere near a B+, let's just say that. So, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, tell me what you thought about Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. I loved it. I thought it was really good. I would definitely put it in my top books that I've read so far in the Goosebumps series. And then please subscribe if you'd like to see more Goosebumps book reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.